Lawyers. What's a law that isn't real that normal people insist exists? It's a law that exists but widely misunderstood as the concept of entrapment. If the police put a bait vehicle in a high crime area, that is not entrapment. If the police are watching a bar known to overserve to see if there are impaired drivers at the end of the night, that is not entrapment. Entrapment only occurs when a gov agent suggests committing a crime that you were not otherwise going to commit. This actually happened to an old high school teacher of mine. He thought he was going on a date with a lady he met online. When they met up for the date, who happened to be an undercover officer, she was like, "I'm not really interested in a date but for $sign I'll do." To which he obliged. He was charged with soliciting a prostitute, but the charges were dropped, since he was only actually interested in the date and had no desire to solicit anything until the officer brought it up. An arrest isn't magically invalidated if the police don't read you your rights on the spot. There could be a whole thread of just misconceptions people have from watching cop TV. Miranda rights protect you from self-incrimination when being questioned by the police for a crime. It doesn't mean they have to Miranda you the second you get arrested. If you aren't questioned, then it doesn't apply. People also think it's illegal not to let them make a phone call after being arrested. It's federal law in the US that a plainclothes or undercover police officer has to identify themselves as law enforcement if asked. No, it's not the law, and they can tell you whatever the fuck they want. I'm reminded of that Breaking Bad cold open where Badger gets arrested for selling product to an undercover officer because of this exact made up law, lol. My father, who is a lawyer. Policemen cannot lie to you. This is false. They can and they do. Edit. There's so many replies that I cannot even find some of the ones I'd like to respond to, so I want to leave a general note for those who have asked for a reference. Frazier vs. Cupp is the Supreme Court ruling that affirmed the legality of deceptive interrogation tactics in 1969. The ruling is still active. In California, it's not illegal to discuss your wages with your co-workers, despite what your boss might say. Edit. I'm a lawyer in California. I assume it's the same in the other 49 states, but don't want to speculate. People that think it's illegal to be videotaped in a public space. I saw someone on Nextdoor complaining about my reasonable right to privacy in a public place when someone was shaming 20 people standing together waiting for takeout. Sorry, that's the opposite of how it works. Driving with interior overhead car lights on is not illegal. Probate attorney here. I've had many people ask me when the reading of the will is going to take place. I explain to them that only happens in movies, but one of these days I am going to have one, and hire a mysterious blonde wearing a veil to sit in the corner quietly. Then I'll tell everyone that she inherits everything. Provided, of course, that she must adopt the dissident's cute but troublemaking 6-year-old child no one knew about, or she can spend the night in a haunted house. Her choice. My dad spent his whole career doing probate and can't count how many people have inquired about the reading of the will. I believe on a couple of occasions he's actually staged them, because it was the only way to get the whole family to come sit down in a room and actually listen to what the fucking will says. And why not do it if he can bill the estate for the hours it takes him to clean up the conference room and then read a piece of paper at a bunch of morons? In the UK, it's not illegal to park on someone else's driveway. It's classified as trespassing, a civil offense, not criminal, which means the police can't do anything. This particularly surprises people as many think that they have exclusive rights to the parking outside their house as well. As a former lawyer UK, I lost count of the amount of people that thought jaywalking was a crime, unless it's a road that specifically states no pedestrians or a motorway. No such offense exists here. Edit. To clarify, I am talking about it not being a crime in the UK. It may well be elsewhere: Australia, USA, Germany and others. Too much American media. It technically is a crime in America, so people think it applies in other places. The one that is the most frustrating to me, even though it's not really a specific claim that a particular law exists, more a rule of evidence, is that's just hearsay. You have no evidence comes up all the time, in all kinds of contexts. Even lawyers love using it when it suits them. Nothing but hearsay and speculation. Usually, what people mean when they say that is don't believe them. They're lying, which, fair enough, but that's not what hearsay means. Lots of evidence is just a person talking. That's what a witness is. It's why testimony exists. It's not evidence just because it's a person talking. Hearsay just means that in most cases, you can't have person A say that person B said this in order to prove that this actually is true. Hearsay, get it? I heard B say it. It just means your witness can only talk about things they actually know about, and, extremely importantly, it also doesn't count as hearsay when person B is actually the person on the other side of the case. Person A is totally allowed to say person B told me yes, I will commit the crime on Tuesday if person B is the defendant who has been accused of committing the crime on Tuesday. You don't get to complain it's hearsay if you're the one who supposedly said the thing they heard. This isn't exactly what you're asking for, but I think it's valuable for people to know. You do not need to wait 24 hours to report someone as missing. US. Ex-lawyer here. There is no law that requires the police to provide you with their name and badge number when asked. There may be internal policies, but it's not the law. There is also no law that requires the police to get a supervisor if demanded. Again, policy versus law. There is no law that allows you to question whether an order given by the police is lawful or not. A court has to decide if the order was lawful after the fact, but there are laws to punish you if you do not comply. Paralegal. A lot of people think that the law requires you to be a good, decent person. If I'm sitting on a bench and see a blind person about to walk into the path of a bus, it's completely legal for me, in the United States, to remain silent, take my cell phone out, and take a video of his death. It's even legal for me to profit from the video. I'd be a monster for doing it, but there's no law imposing a duty on me to tell this stranger, watch out for that bus. I'm no lawyer, but I don't feel like most of the villains in Scooby-Doo committed any actual crime. I don't think it's against the law to put on a mask and scare some trespassers on your own property. You can go 10 over the speed limit. My dad thought this was true as he was new to the country and quickly found out by a speeding ticket that it was not. Sovereign citizen stuff. I feel like enough folks have claimed to be sovereign citizens that it's become normal. But no, generally you can't declare yourself exempt from the laws in effect where you are. Even though many people think so, there has actually never been a Danish law allowing you to beat up a Swede with a stick if he should walk across the ice on Øresund during winter. But even though the law has never existed, it doesn't mean it shouldn't. In my country, some people believe they can press charges against someone. You can't. You report a crime and the police decide if they are taking it further. It's not up to you whether charges are brought. You may want charges brought but the police drop the case. Alternatively, you can refuse to press charges and the police can bring a case anyway. It's harder without the victim or witness cooperation, but they still can. You do have a right to civil cases, of course, but when people say press charges, they believe they can do this via the police. In the UK, people often claim that if an item is listed for sale in a shop, then the shop legally has to sell it to you at that price. This is not true at all, as the shop doesn't have to sell you anything at any price. Often as a gesture of goodwill, shops will honor erroneous prices, but they are under absolutely no obligation to do so. I'm not sure if this would technically be a law or not, but the way tax brackets work, I've repeatedly heard people in retail or construction say something to the effect of, I'm going to turn down this shift because if I take it I'll go up into the next tax bracket and so will pay more in extra taxes than I will earn from taking the shift. The tax system is specifically designed not to do this. Here's an example of how tax brackets actually work. Say there is a tax bracket at $10,000. The rate below $10,000 is 5% and the rate above $10,000 is 10%. People seem to think that if they earn $9,999, they will pay 5% of that, $499.95 in taxes, but that if they earn $10,001, they will pay 10% of that, $1,000.10 in taxes. How it actually works is that you pay 5% on the first $10,000 and 10% only on the dollars above $10,000. If you earn $9,999, you pay $499.95. But if you earn $10,001, you will pay $500.10. You earned an additional $2 and paid an additional 15 cents in taxes. 5 cents on the $10,000th and 10 cents on the $10,001 street dollar. Of course, there are all sorts of weird interactions between taxes and government programs, especially when someone is receiving certain government benefits. It is totally possible for each dollar you earn to be taxed back 1 for 1, or worse. In that case, there is a genuine disincentive to work more hours. But for a normal worker thinking about how many hours they can work before they end up in a higher tax bracket, you will never earn less by working more. So just work as much as you like. Fighting words is not a defense to battery. It just means that the government can prosecute face-to-face insults likely to lead to a breach of the peace. ETA. Not to say that provocation defenses don't exist dependent on jurisdiction, but fighting words in the US refers to an exception to the First Amendment. Not quite on point. A lot of people don't understand that co-signing a loan means that you are on the hook for the loan as much as the other person. The car gets repoed and then they are shocked that their wages are getting garnished. Co-signing is not you saying you think your friend is a cool dude who is good for it. You are saying you will pay for it if they don't. And they want you on the hook because they think there is a good chance the main applicant is a deadbeat. Basically, don't co-sign shit for anybody.